Recently, I've been obsessed with all white shoes. They make my breath smell minty, so I associate it with pure consciousness. I've never owned a pair of all white shoes myself. I don't think I'm at that level of self realization yet. It takes max effort awareness and prolific technical skills to keep them fresh and clean. Talking about walking on eggshells on a moment to moment basis. But it is an ideal that I'm willing to strive for. In the meantime, I want to marry a Caucasian albino girl who is an enlightened nun. She's so pure, her menstruation blood and poop are both white. She only wears all white Nikes, shirts, socks, dress, and thongs. She only eats white rice, white bread, egg whites, and white meat. And because her muscles are 100% type 2 fast twitch, white fibers, she can run the 100-meter dash under 5 seconds and dunk a basketball from the free throw line.
So Nike is probably the only brand that I ever really liked. It's revolutionary. It's the first brand that sort of focuses on mind over matter. You know, it's the first brand to really understand the concept of transcendence. See, Nike Air, my screen name of my YouTube channel used to be Digital Air Air. So, you know, other brands have since followed, but I think Nike was one of the first brands, again, to focus on selling the concepts instead of just solely on the material objects themselves. So Apple is another brand that does this pretty well. If you look at a lot of Apple commercials and Jordan's and Nike commercials, the products themselves aren't even in the commercials.
The ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. They change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius.
Look me in the eye. It's okay if you're scared. So am I. But we're scared for different reasons. I'm scared of what I won't become. And you're scared.
And
of what I
Nike is
could
selling a lifestyle, a peace of mind, an attitude, an ideal, athleticism, you know, the courage to persist, freedom, and again, creativity. See, this is my favorite Nike shoe to wear right now, the Nike Free Flyknit. And even someone like me who is playing the role of an artist, I like to wear those shoes. Not just when I work out, but when I edit videos, when I play the violin. And look at this design. It looks like the stuff of psychedelics. It looks like a DMT trip. It looks like a simulation. Even Nike commercials themselves have been pretty inspiring to me because, you know, I used to watch them and I learned how to edit videos by watching Nike commercials. Kids who line up to buy Jordans, they are not buying the shoes as much as they're buying the idea that's been incepted into their brains. They've been mind-fucked. This is why Nike is able to just reincarnate the same shoe over and over again and still people are gonna buy them. Right? This is just the body.
The other reason why I'm so obsessed with shoes is because they keep me grounded in a phenomenological level. See, my mind is so abstract and always thinking about concepts. The shoes keep me grounded to the physical world. It's one of the only ways I can relate to a normie. My only anchor to the only religion in today's world, capitalism and consumerism.
Nike is a little bit less racist than Abercrombie & Fitch and Hollister. I'm waiting for the day that Nike sponsors an Asian powerlifter. I don't think that's going to happen until America elects an Indian transgender president. See, my first pair of Jordans wasn't even Air Jordans. As you know, Air Jordans is the one release a year that Jordan actually wore to the court every year. But again, Jordan Brand has a bunch of other shoes that Jordan doesn't even wear himself.
The Jumpman Pro Strong by Jordan Brand, a team shoe that was made for Vin Baker.
Jordan handpicked a few players that he thought represent his ideals and put shoes on them to continue his legacy. Being the cheeky cunt that he wants to continue to inject his consciousness into the world, even long after he retired.
See, I never was really interested in these until after he died. And like Jordan's, who I didn't particularly like until after his retirement, their presence permeated the cosmos. When you're not restricted to the locality of the physical body, you could be almost everywhere. And Jordan is now on another level because it's now selling divinity.
Anyway, so one Sunday afternoon, I went with my mom to the mall when she finally agreed to, buy me a pair of Jordans after I've made the all-county youth orchestra.
Black Jesus! Bless me, turn me into digital air at yahoo.com.
So after I unboxed the shoes, I went to my friend Johnny's house. He was like my idol because he had the Jordan 12s and the Jordan 13. And in high school, I was fucking mindless. All I did was watch NBA and play video games. But anyway, so he revealed to me that those shoes that you got are the Bakers, not the Jordans. I was like, what the fuck? I was so disappointed. I was so confused. I was like, what is going on? What is the meaning of life? I feel cheated. So I went home and put on my shoes and looked at myself in the mirror for like 2 weeks and just couldn't decide whether to wear them to school because I was ashamed. I was just listening to my Eminem CD. And finally, Eminem convinced me to not give a fuck.
Slim Shady does not give a fuck what you think. If you don't like it, you can suck his fucking cock.
Picture a skinny 100-pound kid and who sucked at both basketball and isn't really that good at math, wearing Jordans that aren't even Jordans. On top of that, my legs are too short. Being Asian is too short. And this is when I started to develop my fetish for calves. See, everywhere I go, in the mall, at school, on the street, I was checking out people's calves. I was examining the anatomical structure of the calves and their aesthetic relationship to the kinds of shoes and socks people wear. So this is sort of the initial stages of my OCD tendencies and how I sort of use this to hone my perceptual skills to really observe the aesthetics of things. And this sort of continue to unfold today as I make videos and sculptures and playing the violin, and not to mention bodybuilding. And then one day, the power of the BBC struck me. I realized how much more graceful, balanced, and authentic Jordans look on athletic black people. And how pretentiously ugly Jordans look on my Asian friends and on myself. It's almost like a cringe-worthy pseudo-intellectual trying too hard to sound too deep for you. Two people who lace on the exact same pair of shoes, but on Asians, they look beta, and on black people, they look alpha. So this was the first time in my life that I came to see that the value of all objects to be relative and mind dependent. There was no such thing as an objective reality. And everything was consciousness. And this extends to everything that you see in society almost. Cars, purses, law, government, money especially, religion. It's all based on this idea. The only value of this pair of shoes is the agreement, the collective agreement, and the imaginary capacity to sort of hallucinate how wonderful and valuable this thing is. So after more analysis on balance and structures and form, I knew I needed not to change just my body, but my mindset as well, in order to fit into those shoes. And this is one of the reasons why I started lifting. I had to readjust the perceptual appearance of my body in order to look the part in Jordans. So that's why I train the glutes so much. Black people have huge glutes. And if you have huge glutes and a strong posterior chain, your calves are gonna look more skinny and high cut. And along this journey of 10, 15 years, I went through a lot. I lost my virginity. I've probably acquired more than 20 pairs of Jordans. And by the time that I feel like I made it, that I could fit into a pair of Jordans, I've completely lost interest in Jordans. The ego is just like a shoe that you put on. Right, you put them on without attachments and you go run up the hill, climb on top of the food chain or the corporate ladder if you want. But you know that it's just a spacesuit that you put on.
Whoa.
Open it.
Wow, it's real. 应该是真的吧？